Healing art has been a major part of my own healing. As a TBI survivor, I needed help with memory, cognition. I needed a way to express myself, a way to have a voice with the trauma, with the fear, the anxieties, the everyday pain that I was facing. And I found that art was that way for me to be able to find my voice. And I know that over 4 million people are affected by traumatic brain injury that live with disabilities on a daily basis. And with my classes, I hope to be able to alleviate some of their stresses and anxieties.
Right. And so that was actually going to be like another part of my question is, how do you believe art can specifically benefit individuals dealing with the effects of TBI?
TBI affects our emotions, it affects our organs, it affects our memory, our cognition, it affects every part of our being, even our personality. And with healing art, it gives you an opportunity to express those emotions in a positive way, to find a healing in simply drawing, to memorize things on a daily basis through art. It helps to reroute the neurons in our minds and in our brains to help us to focus.
Thank you so much. And can you share any personal experiences or stories of how art has impacted TB survivors in your previous classes?
One of my classes that I had held, she was a TBI survivor. And she told me that while taking the class, that it really helped her to express some emotions that she had hidden for years in her life. She hadn't told many people that she was a TBI survivor. And once we had the class, she was able to get out some emotions that had been bottled up for a long time. So I was really excited by the end of the class to see how she really was able to express herself.
Thank you. And so, what is your story, if you don't mind sharing it, of your whole TBI journey and being a survivor and just overcoming any obstacles and things of that nature?
I first received I'd gotten a TBI when I was 18 years old. I didn't realize it at the time, but my personality was already changing. I was already struggling with headaches, sleeplessness, unable to focus, unable to get things accomplished. It took over 20 years to be able to realize that everything about me had already changed. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't know how to say it because of the memory loss. Then I would start to stutter whenever I'd become over anxious. I would become fearful going into public places. I would feel like I didn't belong in society. Every time that I would go to a doctor, they would always say, "You're too old, you shouldn't have these disabilities at this time, it's been too long for all of that, you should be already recovered." But I knew by advocating for myself and finding my own journey way back through my traumatic brain injury that there was an answer, I just had to find it. I spent 32 years healing from my traumatic brain injury, 32 years finding my personality, finding where I belong in society. I lost my children at a very early age because they couldn't understand why I couldn't provide or care for them. So I knew that I wanted to help others in society that were going through the same journeys, that were experiencing the same symptoms, to know that they're not alone. And in 2018, I wrote my first book. And I never would have believed that I could do that because of the memory loss, because I couldn't express my emotions very well. But I learned that poetry was one of those things I was able to do, was to bring together words and emotions into a place in a book that other people could read and be inspired by.
Wow, that's amazing. So my next question is, what types of art activities or mediums do you incorporate into your classes and why?
So some of my classes provide support, just sitting around talking, expressing themselves, letting out the emotions. They can also draw, paint, knit. There's music. There'll be some cooking classes and maybe some equine therapy available later in groups. One of the classes that I held last year was See the Real Me, which was you took a mask. Half of it you painted your past, the emotions that were pent up, the things that you were feeling, and on the other half you would paint who you wanted to see yourself be later on, hopefully in the near future. And it had such an impact on all the people there with me that I knew that I wanted to continue doing those types of classes.
I guess, how do you tailor your classes to accommodate the unique needs and challenges of TBI survivors?
I try to tailor my classes to groups at a time, their needs at the time, what levels of healing that they're on. For instance, if it's individuals that have limited abilities to be able to move their arms or to walk, I try to make the room spacious enough to be able to get in and have it easily accessible. I try to provide painting, paint brushes and things like that to where it's not easily spilled or easily to hold if it needs to be a wider brush or a smaller brush. I even had an individual that was able to paint with her feet, which was amazing.
Definitely amazing. So I guess, are there any other support or resources that you provide participants outside of the art classes?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to have, eventually there's going to be support groups where individuals with TBI can come together and talk about everything. Also for their caregivers, offer them a support group to where they can come in and talk about what they've experienced taking care of their loved ones or the individuals that have TBIs, and give them an opportunity to connect with other resources with each other. My hope in the near future is to community education, which is going out in the community and speaking and using my books as an opportunity to educate the community. And eventually, and I'm praying, I'll have a big enough building to facilitate classes on a regular basis.
That's amazing. And so, I guess, so how do individuals that are interested in participating, how do they get involved or learn more about the classes?
Okay, so you can go online to my Facebook, Kimberly Vega, and find me on Facebook. I also have YouTube videos that I'll be making, my personal page under Kimberly Vega. I have a website that's going to be built pretty soon, kimberlyvega.me. They can also email me at kvegaadvocacy@gmail.com.
And is this also a free event for them, or do they have to, is there like a certain fee for them to attend the classes?
With the museum here in Lufkin, the classes are going to be $10 to sign up, but eventually there will be free classes available to different organizations depending on how many participants will be available.
And is there anything else you'd like to add that I may have missed?
Traumatic brain injury affects over 4 million people a year. Of that, I believe it's 800,000 people live with debilitating effects after the TBI for the rest of their life. They feel like they're alone. They feel like there's no one out there that understands. They feel like that the doctors that they see on a regular basis don't have all the information that they're really needing. And I wanted to let them know that they're not alone, that there are other groups that are built out there and equipped to be able to answer the questions that they have. I'll be able also to be able to offer other resources to make other connections for these individuals as they come talk to me.